Here we are at example 8 from our 3.17 notes. We're asked, how do you actually find the following derivative? When we notice the natural log of a function, we notice various operations going on within that function. How do you actually do that? How do you take that derivative? Well, it goes back to two little steps, and the first one is we're going to try to expand this thing as much as possible. So those things in pre-calc that we learned in Algebra 2, they actually apply here when we're talking about trying to take the derivative. So the first step is we're going to rewrite using the laws of logs to expand our logarithm, or your natural log. And you want to simplify as much as possible. Now the step 2 is, now that you've expanded things, you've simplified things, step 2 now kicks in where we actually take the derivative. So anytime that you have a scenario like this where you're trying to take the derivative of a natural log of some crazy function with a lot of stuff going on, the first goal is to expand this as much as possible and then take the derivative. So let's actually see that in action now. So we're trying to take the derivative with respect to x of the natural log of x to the 4th times the square root of x cubed minus 2x, and this is all over sine of x. Alright, so for our first step, let's just focus on our quotient that's happening here. So we're not actually taking the derivative yet. We'll get to that in a second. But let's go ahead and expand this by, instead of this division symbol, let's go ahead and change that then to the natural log with a subtraction. So when we do that, we have x to the 4th. This is really a product, so they're still going to be being multiplied together. We'll leave that alone for right now. Instead of that quotient, we have minus the natural log, and then our bottom piece, sine of x. So here we've just kind of started to expand out our, actually that would have been, make this a bracket instead. So right now we're just kind of trying to expand this item. Well, it takes care of the quotient, but now we have, again, a product between the two top pieces. So then to split that up, we have this derivative with respect to x still. We're not actually taking it yet, but we'll get to that in a second. But we're going to go ahead and break up this x to the 4th and this square root of x cubed minus 2x. So to do that, we have the natural log of x to the 4th. Instead of the product, we're going to change it to a plus, and then the natural log of this guy. So the natural log of the square root of x cubed minus 2x. Minus the natural log of the sine of x. So we've expanded just in terms of the product and quotient, but now let's go ahead and maybe just rewrite this square root, because we haven't yet fully expanded this and simplified it as much as possible. We haven't, I mean, we've taken care of the product, again, we've taken care of the product and the quotient, but we haven't yet done and expanded this as much as possible. So let's go ahead and rewrite this guy in terms of an exponent. So really we have the derivative that we still have yet to take of the natural log of x to the 4th plus the natural log of x cubed minus 2x raised to the 1/2 power minus the natural log of the sine of x. Now let's go ahead and use our power property with logs. So essentially we're going to be taking these exponents and throwing them down in front of our natural log function. This guy doesn't have one, so we still have yet to take the derivative with respect to x of 4 times the natural log of x plus 1/2 times the natural log of x cubed minus 2x minus the natural log of the sine of x. At this point, we've actually gone ahead and expanded this as much as possible. And as a result, we can go ahead now and take our derivative. We are applying the derivative, though, to each one. So for this first guy, we have 4 times the derivative of the natural log of x, just comes out to be 1 over x, plus, again, that's just the constant coefficient that can come out in front of a derivative. The derivative with respect to x of the natural log of x cubed minus 2x. Well, this whole piece, again, is considered to be a function, f of x, and you're trying to take the derivative of that natural log of that function. Well, we know that from our previous set of notes that that'll just be our derivative on top divided by our original function. So the derivative of this guy would come out to be 3x squared minus 2. And then on the bottom, we just rewrite that function. So x cubed minus 2x. Minus, now applying that derivative with respect to x of this natural log of sine of x. Well, again, this is considered to be a function. You're taking the derivative of a function, which is, again, the same thing as saying taking the derivative of the function divided by the original function. So this would be the derivative of sine, comes out to be cosine on top of x, divided by our original function. Here it was, sine of x. And now we can just go ahead and clean this up a little bit. So really we have 4 divided by x plus 3x squared minus 2 all over. It's really up to you if you want to distribute that 2 in. I think we'll just go ahead and do it. So we'll have 2x cubed minus 4x minus cosine divided by sine comes out to be cotangent of x. And so there is our derivative. So again, pretty much you just got to start out by expanding things as much as possible and then take your derivative. Now again though, that is example 8 from our 3.1 set of notes.